Hey guys, Isabel here. Welcome back to Reeled In. So unlike for What If Episode 1, I am hopefully on top of it for my analysis for What If Episode 2, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord. If you guys watched my last analysis video, you'll know that I will be referring to the events that happened in the MCU live action movies as being on the sacred timeline. So if I say something as being on the sacred timeline, I'm referring to the actual live action movies. So overall, first impression, I loved this episode. I really did enjoy it, but I enjoyed it just slightly less than episode 1. It was amazing though to hear Chadwick's voice again, as this was one of the last things he did before he unfortunately passed away last year. Rest in power. And for me personally, this episode, like most Guardians of the Galaxy movies, is very bright and colorful, and sometimes that is a sensory overload for me, but I still enjoyed it a lot. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to give you guys my thoughts on this episode and let you guys in on some breakdowns that I noticed in this episode. So all these episodes begin with the Watcher giving some sort of opening statement. In this episode, he says this:
"But in a multiverse of infinite possibility, is your destiny determined by your nature or by the nature of your world?"
Basically, I took that to mean your character as you are born versus how you are raised. So I kept that in mind while watching the episode, and I'll talk about it again at the end. And I love how it's just immediately implied that T'Challa is the better Star-Lord than Peter Quill, as he is instantly recognizable and respected.
Oh, Star-Lord! I'm a huge fan of your work. What are you doing?
And more of an efficient and successful one, if I do say so myself. No hate on Peter Quill. I like him as a character. But T'Challa's just got it. And we have an instant direct contrast to last episode where there were only little, almost indistinguishable differences between the Sacred Timeline, Captain America, and Captain Carter, whereas this, it's vastly different, which I like because as this is a what-if scenario, you'd expect things to be a little more different. And here we have a running gag on how great T'Challa is, with the bowing and kneeling.
Should we be bowing? I feel like we should be bowing. I mean, unless we should be kneeling.
Which also could be a hint at T'Challa's real background, as well as the person he is in the Sacred Timeline, a prince and the eventual king of Wakanda. And also just an amazing, humble, and great person. One thing I have noticed so far is that during these episodes, there will be hints as to what actually happened in the Sacred Timeline / live action version of the MCU movies, either by a joke or just verbally saying it, which makes me wonder if wisps of the true reality are trying to break through and be known. Kind of like in WandaVision, when Wanda created her own reality, she had blips, which were basic commercials, but it was the events that happened in the timeline she's really from. Also, with the events of Loki, it seems in order for there not to be chaos, or there has to be one singular timeline, and Sylvie says that the universe wants to be in chaos, so perhaps this is the universe sort of meddling with these other timelines. I also love, and I've said this before, but I love how T'Challa's character and the kingliness of his character remains, even after him being taken away from Wakanda. He wants to do so much good in the world.
Wouldn't you rather use it to jumpstart the Krellorian's dying star? No treasure is worth as much as the good that can be done with it.
And he does good, not only in the world, but in the whole universe, on multiple worlds. Most likely referencing how he remembers being raised in Wakanda, since that nation has an abundance of advanced technology, and as is said in the MCU movies, is a very successful nation. Not to the outside world because they're hidden, but we know it's a successful nation. When the Ravengers go to take T'Challa away, they pick up on the high quantities of power coming from Wakanda, which is a reference to the meteorite that landed there, described in the opening scene of Black Panther.
Cosmic readings where he was took nearly broke our dial.
My home is built on an ancient vibranium meteorite.
Then we found out a very interesting piece of information, that is T'Challa by himself talks Thanos out of his plan for mass genocide.
No, because it's random.
Thanos himself states that T'Challa showed him a different way to allocate the universe's resources, a technique I'm sure he did pick up from his time in Wakanda, as I'm sure To keep the nation flourishing, this is a common practice.
Big enough, man, to admit when I'm wrong. T'Challa here showed me there was more than one way to reallocate the universe's resources.
And Drax is a bartender, and it was really nice to know that his wife and daughter are still alive, also because of T'Challa, who saved the planet they live on from a Kree invasion. And Nebula has hair, and a lot less metal body parts. Obviously, there's still some past abuse there, as Nebula is not very happy to be working with her adopted father. And there is still a metal incision around her eye, which I'm sure came from Thanos replacing a part of her. But since T'Challa talked Thanos out of his plans, and to become a better person, Nebula is not as abused and traumatized as she is in the sacred timeline. T'Challa says to give her father a chance as he has taken up gardening.
No, he gardens now. You should talk to him. He really has changed.
A reference to when, after his completion of his personal mission, he actually did take up gardening on the planet he rested on. I forgot the name of the planet, sorry. But also in this whole episode, there was not a single Gamora. And that's because since T'Challa talked Thanos out of his mass genocide of the whole universe, he did not go to Gamora's home planet and kill half of her people and take her. And like I said, so far the cinematography and the animation has been really amazing. Notice this shot here as T'Challa talks to Yondu about their future plan. T'Challa is directly in the center of the beam of light, indicating his pureness as well as him just being the light of my life. But also I think foreshadows the future T'Challa will have as one of the greatest saviors of the whole universe, as well as eventually becoming the King of Wakanda. And instead of Mary Poppins, Yondu refers to themselves as
No, we steal from the rich and give to the poor, just like that earthling folk hero.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Another little sacred timeline sneak in there, referencing the moment between Peter and Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And I don't know why I found this so surprising, but I just did, is that Thanos and the Black Order were in this episode. Because I know Guardians of the Galaxy deals kind of more directly with Thanos until Avengers Infinity War. But I don't know, for some reason I was just really pleasantly surprised, but surprised to see them. I just didn't expect to see them. I think it's because I didn't expect to associate them with T'Challa, so the fact that they showed up and interacted a lot just kind of threw me off a bit. But we go to the Collector, who is residing in Nowhere, the severed head of a celestial being. In his collection, we see a dark elf, Howard the Duck, and mentioned are frost giants, which is of course what Loki is, as well as Cronins like Korg.
Take a Louie at the Frost Giants, a Hard Ralph at the Cronins. You're gonna see a sign for Elvish.
Later on, we see a Cronin's arm being used by the Collector, who basically confirms that he took it from Korg himself. Tears.
Packs quite a wallop, does it not? I hacked it off the carcass of a terribly chatty Cronin.
As T'Challa is running, he passes through a room full of ships and his necklace glows, indicating that he has come across a Wakandan spaceship, which indicates that the Wakandans are actually capable of space travel. In the ship are mannequins wearing Dora Milaje uniforms, and I'm glad they were mannequins because I legit thought they were mummified beings of Wakandans, and I was about to be like, what? But that also probably means that the Collector killed some members of the Dora Milaje and took their uniforms, so that's not really great either. And T'Challa gets himself captured as per him and Nebula's predetermined plan. T'Challa breaks himself free using his vibranium necklace and immediately adopts some Black Panther moves, jumping on top of crates and jumping off of walls, almost as if now that he's been reminded of his past training and subconscious thoughts take him back to who he originally was. Squidward binds him in the fragments of glass, similar to how he used bricks and other debris to attack Doctor Strange and Tony Stark in the streets during Infinity War. This scene also shows how T'Challa can instantly reach into someone and connect with them, as the slave saves him based off of his single sentence that he said, which was a very good sentence, by the way.
I prefer you in the cage.
Where I come from, history has never looked kindly on those who lock men in cages.
And then we have the signature Black Panther landing scene. And in the collection here, we have Captain America's shield, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, as well as a knife made from dark matter taken from most likely the leader of the Dark Elves. I think his name was Malekith, something like that. And we also have Hela's helmet. And I'm not really super sure how the Collector has all these items, since technically those events have not transpired, and since Peggy Carter got the serum, there wasn't really a Captain America, unless these were all from different timelines from different variants of these characters. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on in the multiverse right now. And Thanos basically sacrifices himself for his daughter, who he used to abuse, and then Nebula fed some of the seeds, and that kills the Black Order and basically brings life back to the Celestial Head. I wonder how powerful these seeds are, and if the head could reanimate itself. It'd be kind of weird, just like a talking head in the middle of space, because it doesn't have a body, unless it travels to find its body somewhere else. Maybe there's just different separated parts of Celestials just floating around in space. We don't know. It was kind of nice, though, to see a decent relationship between Thanos and Nebula. Too bad it had to be on a separate timeline. And T'Challa is reunited with his family in Wakanda, making him both Star-Lord, savior of the universe, and future king to Wakanda. And we have the snap reference from Infinity War.
That sounds an awful lot like genocide.
No, because it's random.
As well as reference to the universe jumps taken in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh yeah, jump points are the best. They make your face all scrambly, but they're a lot of fun.
Then at the end of the episode, we finally see where Peter Quill has been all these years, a janitor/worker at Dairy Queen, which is also the same Dairy Queen that is seen in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I believe the same Dairy Queen where Ego planted his weird seed plant that takes over the world on his command. But with the Ravagers' help or not, Ego did find his son, and apparently that combination is a recipe for an apocalypse. And going back to the message the Watcher said at the beginning of the episode, I feel like this means that either voluntarily or not, Peter Quill may actually become a villain of the series. We have no idea how he's been raised, since he has not been taken by the Ravagers, but we can probably assume he is not raised with a good father figure. Peter may have needed to be taken by the Ravagers in order to understand that his father, Ego, is not a good planet. Since Peter was not taken, he may not know that the relationship between Ego and Peter himself is not a healthy one. And in order to please his father and to keep his father around, he will do whatever Ego commands, good or bad. Well guys, that was my thoughts on this episode and little things that I noticed. I give this whole episode an 8 out of 10. Still really enjoyed it. T'Challa, amazing. Chadwick did an amazing job. And it was just very lovely to see him again. And I know he'll have future episodes in this series, so I'm excited to see him a couple more times. And just the tribute at the end of the episode, like, that had me in tears, almost in tears. You can check out my reaction video up here for that. Well guys, make sure you leave a like on this video. Comment what you thought about the episode. Did you love hearing Chadwick again? And how do you feel about Thanos being a good guy? Well, as good of a guy as a Ravager can get. And with T'Challa basically kind of leading them, they're pretty good. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for future reaction and analysis videos. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. Well guys, that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.